Once upon a time, there was an old woman who loved beautiful flowers. She planted all kinds of lovely flowers in her garden at home. But the old woman didn't have any children, so she prayed to an angel for a baby girl as beautiful as a flower. The angel gave her a magical flower seed. One day, the magical seed blossomed into a beautiful flower, and to her amazement, inside the flower was a tiny little girl, no bigger than a thumb. Overjoyed, the woman named this sweet baby girl Thumbelina. Thumbelina was incredibly cute, and the old woman adored her very much. Very soon, Thumbelina grew up. But in this giant world, she had no friends. She felt small and alone, always playing by herself, wishing for someone to understand her. One day, while Thumbelina was playing, she was kidnapped by a toad. The toad's son saw beautiful Thumbelina and liked her so much that he wanted to marry her. The toad wanted Thumbelina to marry his son, but of course, Thumbelina didn't want to at all. So, the toad trapped Thumbelina on a lily pad, and she sat there sadly, unable to escape. Maybe it was because Thumbelina was so kind that all the fish in the water came to help her. They worked together, trying to bite through the stem of the lily pad, hoping to set her free. Finally, a big lobster used its huge claws to snap the stem, and Thumbelina was able to escape from the danger. The toad angrily watched all of this, but there was nothing he could do. Thumbelina felt the fresh air of freedom fill her chest, as if every gentle breeze in the world was singing just for her. While Thumbelina was happily singing, a huge beetle suddenly swooped down from the sky, grabbed her quickly, and carried her away from the lily pad. The beetle took her home, but the other beetles thought she was too strange, and some even thought Thumbelina was ugly. Thumbelina was abandoned in the silent forest by the beetles, and now she had to face the harsh environment all alone. When it rained, she would take shelter under a mushroom, listening to the gentle patter of raindrops. On sunny days, she would hide beneath large tree leaves to escape the scorching sun. When she was thirsty, she would drink the dewdrops from the grass and leaves. When hunger struck, she searched the forest for wild berries to fill her stomach. At night, she curled up inside soft flowers, where the thick petals wrapped around her like a warm blanket, protecting her from the night's cold. As autumn arrived, the wind began to howl through the forest, and Thumbelina was still wearing her thin clothes. She wrapped herself in fallen leaves, but knew this was only a temporary solution. Standing in the chilly breeze, she pondered deeply, with winter coming, how would she survive? Just as Thumbelina was still unsure of how to face the harsh winter ahead, snow began to fall in the forest. The thin, dry leaf she had been relying on for warmth was no longer enough. The snow grew heavier and heavier, and by morning, it seemed the entire forest was buried beneath a thick blanket of snow. Thumbelina was filled with fear, afraid that soon she and the leaf wrapped around her would both be buried by the relentless snowfall. This time, the kind-hearted Thumbelina encountered another twist of fate. A mole found her buried in the snow, barely alive. He brought her back to his home, gave her clean and warm clothes, and the blazing fire in the fireplace quickly warmed her chilled body. Then, the mole prepared a lavish feast for her, and as Thumbelina gazed at the spread of delicious food, she felt countless waves of gratitude for the goddess of fortune's favor. Upon hearing that a sweet little girl had come to visit, the mole's wealthy friend came by to meet her. He was immediately enchanted by Thumbelina, admiring her small size and incredible cuteness. Naturally, the mole started persuading Thumbelina to marry his wealthy friend. But of course, Thumbelina was unwilling. At that moment, Thumbelina saw a swallow outside the window, buried deep in the thick snow, reminding her of how she was once covered by the winter's icy blanket. Seeing the almost frozen swallow, Thumbelina gently told it that the mole's cellar could help it survive the harsh winter. She carefully brought the swallow home and nursed it with tender care. The long, cold winter finally passed, and as the spring sunlight warmed the earth, the swallow emerged from the cellar, stretching its wings. It looked healthy and ready to fly again. Thumbelina waved goodbye as the swallow soared into the sky, free once more. The swallow softly told Thumbelina, "Let me take you away from here. In a faraway land, there is a beautiful place called the Flower Kingdom. It's always spring there, with flowers blooming all year round. In those flowers live tiny people just like you. Perhaps that is where you truly belong." The swallow flew through the sky, carrying Thumbelina on its back, heading toward the beautiful land of flowers. Thumbelina sat on the swallow's back, her face filled with wonder as she gazed at the breathtaking view ahead. The bright blue sky and sparkling sunshine lit up her world, filling her with endless hope for the future. Her heart was full of excitement and joy, dreaming of the happy and beautiful life that awaited her. She didn't know how long they had been flying when, suddenly, Thumbelina saw a vast ocean of flowers in the distance, vibrant and endless, like a dream at the edge of the world. The swallow softly said to her, "We've arrived, that is the Flower Kingdom." At the edge of the sea of flowers, there was a warm ball of light, soft and fluffy like cotton. Thumbelina hesitated for a moment, but the swallow, without waiting, flew straight into the comforting glow, carrying her along. As they passed through the warm light, Thumbelina saw a boy dressed as a flower prince, sitting on a blooming flower, just her size. As the swallow flew closer, Thumbelina realized with a flutter in her heart it was a prince, and it seemed he had noticed her too. The prince was overjoyed by Thumbelina's arrival, and with a smile, he said to her, "I knew someday my princess would come." At last, Thumbelina had found her place, and from that moment on, she lived happily with the prince. Thumbelina's story teaches us 5 important lessons. First, kindness. It's important to be kind to others, even when things are tough or challenging. Being kind can make a big difference, no matter what situation you're in. Secondly, bravery. It teaches us how important it is to be courageous, even when things get tough. Third, resilience. Thumbelina shows us how important it is to keep going, even when things get tough. She teaches us that we should never give up, no matter what challenges we face. Fourth, self-discovery. Thumbelina's story shows us how important it is to figure out where we truly belong and to believe in ourselves along the way. Fifth, empathy. Taking care of others, just like Thumbelina cares for the swallow, helps us understand how people feel. All right, my little ones. It's time to close your eyes and drift off to dreamland. Sweet dreams, and may your night be filled with magic and adventures like Thumbelina's. Good night.